Hello, dear friends. Welcome to Kardec Radio, where we're here to nourish our souls. I'm Norah, the host of this program, Thoughts by Joanna de Angelis and Divaldo Franco. Amazing book. When we do the exercises, especially in those moments that we are called to put the lessons into practice, friends, and we fulfill through it, we really do come out on the other side with new perspective, dear friends. And today's lesson is no different than the rest. Friends, this is actually a really good reminder about the power of listening. How many times, we sit and we either share good news, vent the news, etc. to others, right? And we want to be listened to. Now, the biggest question is, okay, well, am I doing that practice too, right? Do I listen to others? As we're working through this lesson, friends, let us connect, right, to our relationships, to our experiences, to make ourselves aware and see how we can always just do better, friends. So here we go. Joanna and Divaldo say, to listen with the heart is also a wonderful way to speak from the heart, whether we use words or not. So listening with the heart, right? It's a metaphor, really. But when we really think about it, true listening involves empathy, understanding, and genuine care beyond mere uh, hearing. So listening with the heart is just not the biological aspects of what's going on when we are listening, right? Because there's so many things going on. But it's also involving ourselves into it, right? That the who we are, the essence of who we are. And are we practicing active listening without interrupting, right? Are we able to observe those nonverbal cues? So as we're connecting in the conversation, as we're doing all these things, what am I doing to listen with the heart? Language, friends. It's a connection beyond words. So words, communication, it transcends language. So emotions and intentions are felt at a deeper energetic level. It really is a very energetic experience when we are communicating with others, right? So it's so beautiful that if we're listening, let's think about this. What kind of gestures am I putting forth my face? Those kind gestures, right? Or do I have these sarcastic looks, or do I look bored? Am I making an eye contact, right? Trying to connect, as they say, the eyes are the windows to the soul. Do they have this calm demeanor to convey understanding, right? So there's ways for us to not necessarily say anything, but to tell the person or the group that we're listening to that we're there for them, that we truly are connecting at that deeper energetic level, right? So speaking from the heart, like Joanna and Divaldo are helping us to understand, it's authentic communication that is rooted in love, sincerity, and positive intention. So what does this mean? Are we speaking kindly and with intention? Are we reflecting before responding to ensure sincerity? So whenever we love someone, and especially, it could be all sorts of news, but if someone's hurting and in pain, automatically we sort of want to go in there and be like, okay, I got you. And you start to say all these things, right? But sometimes that's not what the person is needing, right? If we were to really tune to our hearts, we would know, right? Maybe take that pause before, look at their or feel their body language and see, is it time for me to speak? And if we trust our heart, right, if we trust that interaction, it's going to tell us what to say without coming across, right, as taking over the conversation or not really listening. We have to be authentic, but at the same time, we have to have the intention as well, friends. Now, thinking about the role of silence, it's a very powerful note for us to take internally, right? Because sometimes silence does carry more meaning and healing than the actual words. And it's interesting because we think when someone's speaking and we're not reciprocating with words, right? Somehow that comes across as, being rude, but not all the time, right? Offering silent support during moments of distress is really really powerful by practicing mindful presence. So, of course, friends, we're gonna use our common sense with this, right? As we're in a conversation. But have we ever asked, okay, so in this conversation, would you like me to listen? Would you like some advice, right? And we sort of turn that to the person who is feeling that trust in us to share, right? Either their challenges, their vulnerabilities, or even their victories, or their dreams, their goals. Sometimes they trust us, they want to share. And sometimes, right, they just want silence. And when we provide that, we are also being in a place of support. But even then, friends, thinking about this in a spiritual perspective, how many times do we ask the universe, God, mentors, I I need a sign. But yet we're so loud. We don't really let the mentors sort of guide us. We're not letting the mentors do anything because it's so loud. We're too loud. So it's important to detach, right? To be okay and not just let the silence sort of come in and help us, because the messages do come in. But if we're too much, we're not practicing that mindful presence, it's going to be really hard for those messages to come across. And so the same thing as we're talking, we have to be in that. Well, why? Because all of a sudden communication, yes, it's words, and that's so beautiful. Taking some linguistic courses in language in itself is absolutely, it's a beautiful, beautiful field. But we also have to keep in mind that it is a spiritual vibration, right? Words carry energy and they influence those we interact on a spiritual level. So think about friends. When we talk to someone, if we come across yelling, screaming, even using very ugly words, right? We're going to get sort of that response back. But choosing uplifting words and thoughts carefully, sending prayers or positive, even positive energy silently, they have a power to really change that energetic level. There's a movie based on a book, Celestial Prophecy, right? So it's the whole story is about this young man that goes to Peru, and he is kind of sort of on this spiritual journey. But the point is, when he's in this area, this sort of retreat, they show, how can I say this, friends? Like they show two people interacting, right? One example was the interaction that was balanced, where the energy was uplifting, and the other one was where someone was sort of hogging up that energy. In the one that was uplifting and balanced, the color was sort of golden. There was sort of this fog, these fumes, right? These vibes going like this in between both. And the person or the people or the two individuals were so calm. They were laughing. They had the eye contact. One would speak, the other one would listen. And then when the other one was ready, right, it was so beautiful. And the other example, it was the two different people, but one of them kept talking. And the person that was listening was being sucked out of their energy, sort of like being vampirized. So there was nothing left. Even the color changed, right? And even though the person tried to bring some energy, it was so difficult. The only way they were able to, sort of like the way they showed in the movie, to cut that vibration, it was really to separate. So in using that analogy of the movie, and we think about us connecting in a conversation, right? We have to try to be of balance. Let's not be vampires and making it about me, or, trying to hog up all that energy. Instead, when we're sort of listening, it's a very balanced, right, flow of energy that does create, and it does make a difference for the collective, friends. Now, spiritually speaking, how does listening also help me? In this book, Living Spring by Chico and Emmanuel, the first lesson is really powerful. We're not going to go into detail, but just enough for us to get an idea, like being in this mindset of listening is so important. Look, this is what it says, friends. In light of an exposition of the truth, remember to ponder the lesson you have received. So this word ponder, right? It's already powerful for us. Those who glance up at the sky without contemplating it will never really see the stars. Those who listen to a symphony without opening up the acoustics of their soul will never perceive its divine notes. Listening to the inspired words of ardent preachers will do you no good whatsoever if you do not open your heart so that your sentiments may be immersed in their blessed light. So here we see once again how we need to listen, how we need to connect to really make, right, to have that intuition, to connect, to learn. And look what here it says. Countless followers of the gospel complained their inability to retain its teachings, claiming to be unfit in light of its new revelations. This is because they do not spend enough time meditating on its lessons. First, they spend too much time on distractions, right? So when a room is too dark, it is up to us to open up the windows to let the sun shine in. If we dedicate a little effort to the blessing of the lesson will answer us with its blessings. The apostle to the Gentiles is very clear when he says, consider what I'm telling you, for the Lord will give you understanding in everything. To consider means to examine, hear, reflect, and evaluate, right? So all those things would be like listening. Therefore, we can be sure that in paying attention to the principles of the code of eternal life, the Lord will reward our goodwill by giving us understanding in everything. So we see this here is more like, okay, we need to be in this mindset, right? Not only with our relationships, but also in our spiritual lives, to tune in as we're studying, to be able to gain knowledge, right? And there really is this connection too. So the example there by Emmanuel is saying, well, we can't just hear. It's not enough. We need to reflect, engage. So same thing, taking this to our relationships, right? We need to take time to process what loved one shares, asking clarifying questions, like showing genuine interest. We still have to open our heart. So when we connect, we need to be emotionally present. We need to set aside distractions during conversations. Again, make that eye contact, respond with empathy. And there is a powerful phrase that Emmanuel and Sheik will say, letting the light into the dark room requires opening the windows, right? So healthy relationships, friends, require intentional effort, right? If we were to analyze that, right? So we need that to grow and overcome challenges. So making time to nurture relationships through thoughtful gestures, active listening, and patience during the conflict will help in all of this. So when hearts connect through genuine listening, communication, harmony, and spiritual growth occur, right? The ultimate thing, right? So engaging in group meditations or prayers help to foster these connections. There's an interesting story here in the Bible in Luke chapter 10, verses 38 to 42, at the home of Martha and Mary. Just for us to sort of bring in Jesus into this, because he too was very wise in telling us sometimes we just got to stop what we're doing and listen. Verse 38, as Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. She had a sister called Mary who sat at the Lord's feet, listening to what he said. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. She came to him and asked, Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work by myself? Tell her to help me. Martha, Martha, the Lord answered, you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. So we can make an inference here too, right, friends? The importance. Mary was just listening. She let everything down, was listening to Jesus. Or Martha was so distracted thinking about it, like the things that need to be done. Sometimes that's all it takes. We need to stop what we're doing. We need to just be present in the moment. We can always come back. And I think Jesus gave a beautiful reflection for us to think about, right, all of this. So, friends, to end the lesson, listening and speaking from the heart nurtures our spiritual development and fosters compassion. So reflect daily, friends, on whether we communicated with love and understanding. A lot easier said than done, friends, but it is possible, and that's why we're here, right? There's no right, there's no wrong. We keep growing, we keep improving, Relationships vary, different scenarios, different situations. But bottom line is, let us tune in to that awareness, right? Let us listen more. Let us see the power of silence. And let us just communicate and understand those spiritual vibrations. And most importantly, those are going to help the higher elevations we have. It helps the collective, friends, and we do need all the good energy, all right? That is today's lesson, friends. Let us tune to other programs here at Kardec Radio, and let us remember that we are love. Until next week, please, friends, take care. Bye.